Hi there, it's time to cue the cat. And I promised that I would come back this evening and read you the first chapter for How to Muzzle a Mobster. So, the first thing that I'd like to talk about is my hat. It is another thrift store find. And before we get to reading, I'm going to remove it really quickly and read. So I always look for the coolest things that I can find in a thrift store. And I always ask myself two things. Remember that? Two things. One, can I afford it? And two, do I absolutely love it? So I found this hat, and it is a country gentleman hat, and it is super cool inside. And I put it on. Yes, I found it in the men's department of a local thrift store, but I had to have it. So I am wearing it. It's a little bit like a Sherlock kind of hat, so I think it's super appropriate to wear today while I read. I'm not real sure if you can see my eyes or not, but if I lift it too high, then it sits funny on my head, and I don't want to look funny on my, YouTube video thing. We're gonna go ahead and try to start. Poured my wine into a bottle that I brought home from Sweden last year in April. And it was like a ginger sparkling water, and it's called Kitty Crazy, and I had to have it. And I kept the bottle. I brought it home with us, and I can't read a darn thing on the label because it's all in Swedish. But the bottle is super cute. And because it has a black kitty cat on it, I had to have it. So I'm going to drink wine out of this today instead of a wine glass. So let's take our first sip. And it is Clos de Bois Chardonnay. Probably just slayed that name, but that's what I say. Okay. So we're going to read Chapter 1 of How to Muzzle a Mobster, Book 4 of the Steely Kuff and Steely Mysteries, or the Steely and Kuff Mysteries. And I'm going to just tell you right up front, I printed this out off of the computer. It has not been edited or revised or beta read or anything. I started the manuscript during the first part of the COVID-19 pandemic stay at home crazy order, and so it hasn't been seen by anybody else's eyes but mine. So I will apologize if it is not up to par. I also don't have the italicized little intro paragraph that I usually put in the front matter of my books, because I normally write that. Here's a little insight. I normally write that italicized intro part of chapter 1 at the very end of probably my second or third draft. And normally what I try to do is I write that italicized intro kind of like an introductory paragraph that just kind of overlays the whole mystique and mystery of the novel. So I haven't written that yet. So we're going to start with reading the beginning of chapter 1. The front page of the Buckleville Banner caught my attention with the headline, "Frenchie Pups Pilfered at Gunpoint and Owner Killed." Daniel and I gaped at the photo of the 5 adorable, squishy-faced puppies and 2 adult dogs. I read the article aloud. Yesterday, a local breeder, Marcus Phillips, died from gunshot wounds when a purchase of one of his French bulldog puppies went terribly wrong. Sally Phillips, his wife, tells authorities they'd received a phone call from a potential buyer to look at one of their 8-week-old puppies. She reports they'd placed an ad for the pups on a breeder website and on the Area Buy Seller Trade Group Facebook page. The Facebook ad spurred thousands of shares, questions, and comments. One of the most serious commenters, a woman by the name of Gina Roxley, posted her phone number and asked the breeders to call her about one of the pups. When they called, the woman claimed she wanted to purchase a new puppy as a companion to her adult French bulldog. "This makes me nauseous," Daniel gulped. "Me too, Chiquita." A low, grumbling growl escaped Kuff as she shivered in my lap. "I know, I'm right there with y'all." It had been 9 months since my head-on collision with a desk, resulting in the odd ability to hear my senior Chihuahua's thoughts. "Hey, what you're calling senior?" I patted Kuff's head. "Y'all," Daniel said with a curious tilt of his head, "Gertie's not even paying attention. She's too busy playing words with friends with Mr. Peters." My grandmother grunted from over near the window where she sat next to her friend, both tapping away on their cell phones. Mr. Peters' shotgun, he called Patrice, sat propped up next to his chair. He toted Patrice with him everywhere. With his gambling debt issues, I guessed it made him feel safe. We'd grown used to him bringing it into the shop. And when in Texas, "I was talking about you and Kuff," I said. Daniel's eyes shifted from me to Kuff, and back to me again, one eyebrow shooting upward. "Okay, but seriously? Please tell me the woman claiming to want a new puppy didn't do anything to hurt them. I don't think I can take that kind of news." Daniel, my best friend and head groomer of Scrub-a-Dub, my dog grooming shop I inherited from my grandmother last year, had a soft spot for all things furry. We all did, but Daniel especially. "Steely, the suspense is killing me," Daniel said. "Tell me what else happened before I die." Before my dramatic friend died, I finished reading the story aloud. The Phillipses planned to meet the potential buyer yesterday morning at 9 a.m. at their home. "We should have never allowed her to meet us at our home. We should have met her in a public spot first, vetted her, and then let her meet the puppies." Daniel gasped. I continued. But when the woman arrived, she had her so-called adult son with her. The breeders agreed to let them see the pups, and when they led them to the dogs' room, the man pulled a gun on them and ordered them to get into the hall closet. He told them if they refused, he'd shoot them and all the dogs. Mrs. Phillips followed order, but Mr. Phillips put up a fight. Hiding in the closet, Mrs. Phillips heard 2 shots. When she heard the front door slam shut, she crawled out to find her husband dead on the floor. All 5 puppies and both parents gone. The chocolate-colored female goes by the name of Espresso Bean, and the sable male goes by French Fry. The puppies were unnamed. I took a deep breath. "That's awful," Daniel said. "Those poor dogs." "Dogs? What about the poor wife?" I said in a squeal. "Easy on the ears, Chiquita." I rubbed between Kuff's ears. Sorry, little buddy. That's not all. Listen to this. A source tells reporter the murderous dog thieves have ties in the Dallas area. Authorities are looking into the lead. Oh my goodness. I focused on the money amount in front of me and couldn't believe my eyes. The missing dogs are worth $29,000 combined. What? Daniel asked, his voice shrill. Kuff whined, burying his head under my arm. Humans are so loud. Are you shitting me? Gertie said from the lobby, her ex-smoker's voice raspy. She coughed, which sounded like she coughed up a lung. Thank goodness she'd switched to the patch. She fumbled with her phone, her faded blue eyes bulging. You know, taking money from an old woman. Did I? I think I might have missed something, but I'm going to go ahead and go with it. You know, taking money from an old woman to fund your pie addiction should be a crime. Scoffing, she reached into her apron pocket, pulled out a dollar bill, and waved it in my direction. Come and take it. She pursed her lips and squinted. So, the part I left out, which I'm not real sure how I did that, but apparently I did, is when Gertie curses, Steely makes her pay money into her curse jar, which sits on the counter of the dog grooming shop. Kuff, you're going to have to come up here. Mama's reading. And right now, I'm going to take a sip of wine. That kitty crazy bottle chugs. Okay. So, I'm not sure how I missed that, but so Gertie's waving the dollar bill and she says, come and take it. She pursed her lips and squinted. Daniel slapped a palm over his mouth to keep from laughing. Beside Gertie, Mr. Peters chuckled. Watch out, Steely. She's got her war face on. I tossed the newspaper on the counter. Gertie, I am only trying to help you clean up your language. Who says I need to stop cussing? She asked. Me, your boss. I strolled over and fetched the dollar with a smile. And buying pie with the money collected is an added bonus we all enjoy around here. As I dropped her money in the jar, I heard her whisper to Mr. Peters, calling me Gertie. I'm her grandmother. And did you hear her? She's my boss. I gave her this damn shop. I whirled around, raised a finger to correct her, and Daniel snapped at me. Steely, look! Glancing in the direction he pointed, I saw Melinda Goldberg crossing Main Street and heading in our direction. Dressed in a red floral maxi dress, Melinda led a dog that most certainly wasn't Beulah, her old English sheepdog. At the end of a black leash, an adorable French bulldog puppy trotted alongside her. I froze as Melinda breezed inside the shop with a sunshiny smile. Melinda, where did you... Daniel began. I grabbed his arm, giving him a little pinch. Adorable! So who do we have here? He flinched and rubbed the underside of his elbow. Melinda bounced up to the counter. Attempting to conceal my shock and disbelief, I leaned over and peered down at the panting pup. A docked tail waggled in excitement. Look, Daniel, we have a new pup in town. Hold just a second. Come here, baby. I heard you. Come here. I know. It's okay. I heard you. Yeah. We're gonna... No, don't bite the microphone. You're gonna bite this. Yeah. I heard you. And you can have your ball. And I have your blankie. Yeah, look, I have your blankie. You want your blankie? Yeah. Sorry if I just gave you all a double chin. It happens when you get, to be my age. Okay, don't fight with the cord. Here. There you go. Good boy. Yeah, and hopefully he doesn't see the stuffed cup up there that he had a problem with earlier. Okay, so we are going. Where did your little treat go? Where did your treat go? Oh, here it is. There you go. Okay, where was I? We saw the pup. We have a new pup in town. Hi, y'all. Meet Nugget, Melinda said. Unable to speak, I snatched a copy of the newspaper, hiding the photo of the missing dogs from Melinda. I studied the wiggling, plump-bottomed puppy in front of us. He was a dead ringer for one of the puppies in the picture. Surely it couldn't be. Melinda was no dog thief or a killer. Daniel reached over and tapped my lower jaw. I snapped it closed and stashed the newspaper under the counter. Is he yours, Melinda? Daniel asked. Leave my microphone alone, pup. I'm fostering him until they can find him a home. Isn't he adorable? Melinda bent and patted the pup on his head. I wanted to stop by and see if y'all can work him into your schedule today. Fostering? I thought. Daniel said, glancing at the computer screen. We're completely booked. Of course we can, I blurted. We can? Daniel asked, twisting his head and giving me a have you lost your mind look. He motioned to the computer. Have you even looked at this, Steely? I brushed him off. Fiddlesticks, Daniel. I grabbed the Polaroid camera from the drawer in front of me and rounded the counter. For our pet picture wall. I snapped a picture, and the automatic device spit out a square of milky film. Waving the photo to dry, I set the camera on the counter. We'll work him in, Melinda. I smiled. Where on earth did you find him? He's such a cutie. I could feel Daniel's eyes on me. It's the craziest thing, Melinda said. Last night I was cooking supper when Vivian rang me on the phone. She said she was helping a friend who needed to rehome a French bulldog. I told her I'd always wanted a Frenchie, but they're so expensive. Vivian was going to foster herself, but Pop-Tart wasn't being very nice to the puppy, and she asked me to keep him until she could find him a buyer. Vivian Peacock? My arch nemesis. Melinda nodded. How much are they looking to sell him for? I asked. $3,000. Can you believe that? It's astronomical, Melinda said. That's a lot of cash, Mr. Peters said. You can say that again, Gertie said, clapping him on the shoulder. Hey, isn't that one of those kinds of dogs in the paper you were reading about earlier? The stolen ones? I twirled, shaking my head at her. I don't think so. Stolen? Melinda asked. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is, Gertie said, struggling to stand. She waddled over towards us. Here, I'll show you. I blocked her from going to the counter. She moved to the right, and I followed. She moved to the left. Again, I followed her action. Don't start your whining business. You don't want to embarrass yourself in front of the camera. What in tarnation are you doing? She asked. I winked. Want to dance? She slid back to the right, and I cut her off again. Stop that, she said, ducking her head and bulldozing past me like a linebacker. Shuffling through the paperwork on the countertop, she searched. I know it's here somewhere, and you said they're worth a lot of money. Gertie, you must be hearing things, I said, reaching for Nugget's lead. Melinda, I'd be more than happy to put him in the back. We'll work him in and call you when he's done. Oh, okay, thank you, she said, her expression bewildered. What did your grandmother mean? There was an article in the paper today about some stolen puppies. And the person who took them shot Marcus Phillips, Gertie said. Melinda sucked in a breath. Oh no, Mr. Phillips. Poor Sally. I gave Gertie the look for blurting out the sad news. You knew him? I asked Melinda. She nodded. Yes, I did. But Nugget couldn't be one of those puppies. Vivi wouldn't be messed up in something so awful. Vivi was a viper. I agreed with Melinda, though. Vivian wasn't a murderer. Involved with a dog theft? It's possible. And as the president of the Citizens on the Watch, I elected to head up the puppy pilfering operation. And that's the end of chapter 1. So, who on earth is pilfering these poor French bulldog puppies? I have no idea. Really, I do, but I can't tell you. So, that is the chapter 1 of How to Muzzle a Mobster. And with the word mobster being spoken, you know that the mafia is involved. Now, is there a mafia in today's times? You wouldn't think so, but guess what? I actually did research on this after a friend who's also a beta reader told me that the mafia recently, in today's times, has been known for, ready for this? They've been known for black marketing olive oil, of all things. Olive oil. Apparently they're passing it off as true olive oil when really it's vegetable oil, blah, blah, blah. And I thought, oh my goodness. So we have to do something with the mafia. And of course, Muzzle has something to do with dogs and then the whole mobster. So How to Muzzle a Mobster is how I came up with Title 4. So I decided that I wasn't going to go to the olive oil route because olive oil really has nothing to do with kind of what I'm working on, and dogs do. So, and then I had one of my CrossFit coaches got a French Bulldog for Christmas this past year and wasn't quite experienced with the French Bulldog breed and didn't quite know what a jewel she had on her hands. And after some other research I did on French Bulldogs and then in Sweden, of course, we did experience lots of Frenchies over in Europe and in Sweden, and they seem to be everywhere. I just was intrigued with this, like, why are French Bulldogs everywhere there? So I learned that Kuff is covering my mic. Hold on one second. We're having a little battle of the microphone here. I learned that there are actually people who will black market French Bulldogs from overseas and sell them with fake papers over here in the United States of America and make a lot of money with fake papers. And a lot of times the puppies are sick, and I don't want to go into that. I didn't go into that in the book, but I did go into the whole like mafia smuggling French Bulldog puppies. So that's the fun of this book. And I am not going to tell you who it is. Maybe it's Vivian Peacock. Maybe it's somebody else. We don't know. So we're going to leave that mystery up to the rest of the book and the story. And that's about it. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off since Kuff is apparently wanting to, I don't even know, crawl up into my neck somewhere or go outside, or I don't know. Who knows what's going on with him. He is a very needy puppy. So apparently he wants inside my pouch of my overalls. So I'm going to sign off, and I hope you guys have a great week. And remember my talk I had earlier with you guys about doing something creative to pass the time during this COVID-19 crisis pandemic and make something beautiful out of something kind of terrible and awful. I will see you guys next week over something to drink, preferably with me. It'll be wine. And I will see you guys next time. All right? Bye.